Okay, hello? 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 Big weekend stream. Hello guys, hello. Welcome. Happy Saturday. It's Saturday, right? Yeah, it's Saturday. Wouldn't it be crazy if I just went live on the wrong day? Alright. So, we got big changes coming, okay? Big changes. Here. We just started. So, how should I start this? So I had a talk with a few people, actually, like 3 different people. And I think that my streams, and you guys in chat as well, have been getting a little bit too aggressive. We'll say aggressive. Because I was watching this Masako video. What was it? 3 days ago or something. 4 days ago. And I was just having fun, but some of you guys are going pretty crazy. So I want my streams to more to better reflect that what I want from Dragon Ball and making Dragon Ball content is just like to chill, you know, and have fun and enjoy like this series that we all should be here having fun with and enjoying, because I think it's great and most people think that it's great as well. No, I'm not trying to be too sappy with you guys. I know this is kind of gay or whatever, but I don't want everyone to think that like I'm just hating on everyone, because that's not what I'm trying to do. But since the streams are most of what I do, and most of what I've been doing on streams is like watching other people's videos and like debunking them or whatever, then it seems like I'm just like all negative and shit like that, and that's not how I want people to see. My friend is playing a porn game on Steam right now. He pops up on the right bottom corner of my screen every 3 minutes. If you're gonna play porn games on Steam, you gotta turn that shit off. Can you turn off like when you play a game, everyone can see what game you're playing? If you're like offline or whatever. Play with him. All right. Yeah. So that's what I wanted to say. So after this stream, listen. After this stream, we're gonna private all of my streams from before this one, except for the last one that we did about Laughing Stock Media and Lonk and Masako, because it was just fun. That stream was just fun. And then going forward, that's what I want to do more, is watch videos like that, enjoy shit like that, because I think the last stream, if you were here for the last stream, it was like the most fun that I've had on stream. I don't have to get frustrated about like wacky takes. I just like sat there and enjoyed this like crazy fucking video that this guy put out that was like honestly fun and enjoyable. And yeah, but it's nothing crazy. I'm not like, maybe I'll just unlist them, but I think they're all public. Maybe I'll just unlist them all. They'll be in the playlist if you want to watch them. Maybe I'll private them, I'm not sure. But going forward, we're going to focus on more of what we did last stream, because that was some good shit. And then today, what I want to do, I was thinking about watching one more Dragon Ball Super, someone disliking Dragon Ball Super video, and then I want to be done with those kinds of videos, because I mean, we've talked about like every argument that people have made, every reason people don't like it. We all get the picture, we all understand. And I'm just gonna talk for a while to you guys about like combining all of the things that we've learned from watching these people's videos about why they don't like it, and just gather all the thoughts and explain why I think people actually don't like it. the differences between that and Z, and what I think there is to dislike about Super, and also what I think there is to like about it. Will you possibly do live manga reactions? Are you allowed to do that? Because you have, I know Unrelent does like, he'll post a video just like reading out the chapter with the pages on screen and the music in the background and stuff. I think those videos are great. I would love to like read through the new chapters with you guys, but I don't know if it's allowed. Stream is lagging? Nah. Shouldn't be. I'm not dropping any frames. Geekdom does? I mean, if other people are doing it, if Unrelent can do it and Geekdom does it also, then I would love to do that. But I worried about like copyright issues, or I don't know, something like that. Because I know for other anime, people don't do that. They just have, like, they'll read it themselves with the pages not on screen, and I don't want to, you know. Yeah, I don't want to draw the ire of the Dragon Ball copyright stuff, because people have dealt with some fucked shit going through that, you know. If anything, you could not show the pages. Yeah, I might do that. Yeah, I think that would be pretty fun. And we're about to go into a new arc and stuff. What, just January, probably the end of January, maybe December. If we're lucky, January. Or if we're lucky, December. Alright, so before we get into it, like the stream, please. Join the Discord, that's my main thing. Please join the Discord. I love everyone in the Discord. And fuck, I wanted to put, I've been debating this, okay? Because if you have been around for a long time on my streams, you'll know that I've said that I'm not like, I don't do YouTube or streams to make money, you know? Like, I don't do like the shills at the start of my video. I'm not like, before we get into it, subscribe and blah, 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 all that stuff. There's nothing wrong with that, obviously. But I just like, I don't know, for some reason, I don't want to do it in my videos. I want mine to be like a more artistic kind of narrative driven thing. Anyway, there is a new mic that I want because mine is totally fucked and the audio in all my videos sucks. And yeah, I want a new mic. So I was thinking about putting a donation goal on the stream, but then I don't know. I'm like emotionally battling with actually doing it. Because I don't really like donations as a concept. I would much prefer people become members or subscribe, whatever it's called, because then they get something out of it also. And I don't know, it's like a community building thing. But anyway, those are my thoughts. So if you have thoughts on it, if you're okay with it or not okay with it, let me know. You can talk about it in the Discord or something. But anyway, we're gonna get into it, I promise. I'm stalling, but just like the stream for now, that's easy. And then yeah, I'll start with my thoughts on this whole topic. Should I put music in the background? Do members and subscribers goals? Yeah, I could do that, I guess. I don't know. I really like emotionally battle with if I want to have that stuff on my stream and shit. Eventually someone somewhere is going to end up in court off it eventually, and then that creates precedent. Yeah, one way or the other, though. It could be good, it could be bad. Who knows? I doubt. They're not really going to get anything in court off of random YouTubers, though, so. Let's put something in the background. Some kind of music. Put one of those like Dragon Ball music to sleep to memes. Here, let's do this. Oh yeah, this goes hard. Alright. Is that good? Is that a good volume? Can you guys just like barely hear it? Yo, Nazanik, thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. Thank you for becoming a member. I need like an animation and a sound that goes with it. I keep meaning to do that, but I always forget. But thank you, man. Well, also, you get emotes and stuff if you become a member, and you get them in the Discord, and you get a special role in the Discord, I'm pretty sure too, so those are the benefits for you. A little bit louder. How's that? YouTube and court go together like noodles and paste. Music's good? Okay. How do I become outerversal level? I've been wondering, okay, so I'm getting into so many tangents before I get into the actual topic of the stream. I'm so sorry. I've been thinking about this because in my Discord I have the levels starting at human and then going up, but then like for everything I'm the top, right? Because I don't know, it's my channel, it's my Discord, right? And I'm only planet level, so I feel like it's weird if the viewers become like universal and shit, you know? So like I've wanted to do star level, but it's kind of weird if like you guys are above me in the thing. Don't you think so? Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe I'm just being autistic. I'm not sure. It doesn't really matter, honestly, but for some reason, like aesthetically, it just doesn't fit. I don't know. Dude, if you want to become outerversal, I'll give you an outerversal role. We'll do I'll go above, whatever. Fuck it. Viewers are all Beerus's and you're a Goku. What is that supposed to mean? All right. Anyway, enough about me. Let's get into the good shit. Yeah. So, like I said, this is just to, I'll be reading chat kind of, but I'm mostly just going to be yapping. Okay. So, like I said, this is to kind of wrap up my thoughts about all of the videos that we've watched over the past couple months. I guess it's been a few months maybe. Because we've watched like maybe dozens of, not dozens, maybe 10, 15 videos about why like Dragon Ball Super sucks and the forms in it are bad, they don't make sense, everything's an ass pull, and this and that and that. And obviously you guys know how I feel about it, but I just want to collect all of the things that people have said about it, kind of frame it in this way and that way, and compare it to Z, and then give some reasons that I think Super has missed the mark, because I haven't really talked about what I don't like about Super. And then talk about why people should like it, or at least what there is to like about it. Okay. So, first and foremost, to talk about why... This is a little bit loud. I'm sorry. To talk about why people don't like Super, I feel like first we kind of have to establish why people liked Z in the first place. Like, what about Dragon Ball drew people in the first place? And I did a poll on this a while back. I asked what initially made you fall in love with Dragon Ball? And YouTube polls, you can only do 4 options. So it's like, I put the fights, the characters, the forms, and the world, which is kind of vague, but the main one, the highest rated, highest voted for, sorry, was the fights. So, I mean, obviously it's a shonen battle anime, manga, whatever. People are gonna enjoy the fights. And then it was the characters, and then the forms, and then the world was last. And I think the world was kind of... It wasn't a good option. It didn't really encapsulate what I meant. What I meant was like the key system and the gods and the systems of progression and, you know, all like the other planets, all that stuff. And so I think the general consensus was that the fights initially draw people into Dragon Ball, but it's not what makes them stay. What makes them stay is the characters and the world. And so, what about the fights that people like from Z? The stakes, for one, are pretty interesting. So, in a lot of anime, you get, okay, you lose the fight, what happens? You die, maybe someone takes over the world, or like lots of people die. Those are usually like the big stakes for anime. Obviously, it can go higher, whatever. And in Dragon Ball, and in Z specifically, the stakes start small, like in the Saiyan saga with Raditz. It starts with just like, oh, your son will be kidnapped and you'll die. But then it goes to, okay, Raditz might kill everyone. He wants Goku to kill all these people. And then the other Saiyans get there, and it's like, oh, shit, okay. Cities are being wiped out instantly now, and Vegeta threatens to blow up the planet. And also at the same time, the stakes kind of encapsulate it, like a fourth wall break in a way, and it's in the Saiyan saga when Nappa and Vegeta arrive. It's like, okay, not only are these characters risking death, but to the audience, speaking to the audience, you could lose all these characters that you learned to love over the course of the original Dragon Ball. Like, here's a fight with all the humans and Piccolo and Gohan now. And they're all dying. Like, you're losing all these characters that you have loved for so many years already. And so the stakes like really escalate, not only for the characters in the show, but for the audience as well. And when Piccolo dies, you go, oh shit, like the Dragon Balls are gone now too. And so the stakes are way higher. And for the audience, you're also thinking, oh shit, like are these characters all dead for good now? Are we just fucked? Is this really happening? But then, you know, it comes that there's Dragon Balls on other planets, and we're gonna get those, and wish back this, and then blah 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 blah. Right. So it kind of, Dragon Ball as a show has lowered stakes in some ways than other shows because of the Dragon Balls. They always use the Dragon Balls in some way. And the fact that you can bring people back from the dead, initially it was only once, so there was still stakes there. And now it's, oh, you can bring people back as many times as you want, but, you know, if the Guardian dies and the Dragon Balls go away also, and that was the issue in the Buu saga, and then it's, oh shit, there are things that the Dragon Balls can't do, and we need these Super Dragon Balls for them, and, you know, yada yada. I'm rambling a little bit, but you guys understand what I mean by stakes now, hopefully. So another thing that I think people enjoy about the fights in Z are the purpose for the fights. So why are these people fighting in the first place? In the Saiyan saga, we get Vegeta versus Goku, which is like the first big battle of ideologies in Z. It's, here's this guy who was born strong and born into royalty, and he thinks that that means that he, you know, is strong forever and is meant to be the strongest forever, and no one will ever surpass him. And on the other hand, we have this guy, Goku, obviously born on Earth, and he thinks, well, you're not born strong, you have to train, and you have to work hard, and through that, you can become the strongest, and, you know, protect, blah, blah, blah. And these two very opposite ideologies clash in that arc, and that is the focus of that fight. And then when it's over, when Goku lost, but when the Earthlings, when Earth has won against Vegeta, Vegeta's worldview is kind of, it gets shattered in a way. And he has to go off and wonder, like, oh shit, maybe I'm wrong, and maybe I do need to train. Maybe training is the right way. After Namek, he realizes, like, this guy, he really is stronger than me. He's getting way stronger than me. He's doing something right. This system that I've been living by for the past however many years that he's been alive has been wrong. These things that I've been taught by my culture have been wrong. And then this comes up in the Namek Saga against Frieza, and Frieza feels the same way as Vegeta, just to an even higher level. Like, Frieza is never trained, and he hasn't needed to, because he's just the strongest in the fucking universe, you know? And so Goku has to again fight against Frieza and break that worldview again, the same way he did against Vegeta. And he tries to let Frieza go like he did with Vegeta, but this time it doesn't work. But then we see later, way later in Super, we'll get into this, in, when is it? In Resurrection F, and then also in the most recent Granola arc, we see that Frieza has also been changed by Goku. He is training now, and he realizes that this ideology that he's had is askew, it's broken in some way. But this is just a long-winded way to say that the purpose for the fights, these like clashing ideologies at the start of Z are very important to why people love these fights so much. And it drops off a bit later on. So in the Cell Saga, you kind of get a little bit of that with Cell against Gohan, but for most of the arc, it's just Cell kind of doing Cell things. It's Cell, he just wants to be, he thinks he's the perfect life form and blah, blah, blah. You can get deeper on it, but it's less prominent than it is in those first two arcs. First two sagas, whatever you want to call them. And then in the Buu Saga, it's just like magical alien wants to fucking destroy everything, whatever. And yeah, so that encapsulates why I think people really love the fights in Z, like these biggest reasons. The part where they're in the cave and Beerus points out that Goku is prideful, whether he realizes it or not. It's a cool callback to when Goku talks about his pride as martial artist in OG Dragon Ball. Actually, I really love that scene. I love that whole section of the Battle of Gods movie where Goku is talking about how he is clearly not very excited about the fight because he's not fighting with his own power. I love that whole part. Okay. So what's next? The characters. So why do people like the characters in Z? I think part of it is because you get such a wide berth of characters. You have these fun and likable characters like Goku and Krillin that you've grown up with since original Dragon Ball. And then you get the really cool characters that are like badass and they don't give a fuck and they do cool shit and they're ruthless and blah blah blah, like Vegeta or Trunks or Cell even. Like, people really like Cell because he's just like very stoic and cool and scary, you know. And you get kind of these both sides of these characters. So like there's times where you can have fun with them and there's times where they go Kakarot mode, if you will. And then also characters having unique ideologies is very interesting. So you kind of grow up with how Roshi teaches Goku and Krillin to, you know, he's got this very relaxed style, but also train and work hard and blah, blah, blah. And then you have the Vegetas and the Friezas and the Cells who think that they're all born with this power, that they, like they have a right to be strong just because of the way that they were born. And yeah, like Zero said in chat, it's a big part of it that you want to watch and see them train and work hard and then, you know, win in the end. That's kind of part of the battle shonen genre as a whole. Like, Naruto fucking sucks at the start and he sucks at everything and he loses at all this. But now he's working hard and he's doing all this shit and now he's, you know, the Hokage or whatever the fuck. Well, I mean, now he's stuck unconscious in some alternate realm, but we don't need to talk about that. Sasuke's a tree now, so who fucking knows what's going on over there with the Naruto fans? They got some crazy shit going on. And then, okay, so the next one was the world. So why do people like the Dragon Ball world? I think for all the ways it's not unique, there's a lot of things similar about it to other things, but it came first in a lot of ways. And it is unique. It was unique at the time. And it still is in a lot of ways now. But like the key system is very cool. And the fact that everyone has ki kind of makes, when you're growing up, it makes you feel like, oh shit, like I can be like Goku, you know? You can't. You're not. But you feel like you can, like even though you don't have ki. You might. And you can, you know, if you work hard, then you can do this and that and then whatever. And then just like the expanded universe of Dragon Ball, so the other planets and Otherworld and the deities and all this stuff. It's very cool. Which, I mean, Super expands on a lot also, and people kind of disregard that and they don't like it for some reason. And I think one of the reasons that people like Z so much and they don't like Super is it's old. Thing being old means things are, or people are more likely to enjoy it. And I know I'm wrapping up this section with this, so I'm not trying to say that like all of this boils down to it's just old and it's just nostalgia and that's the only reason you like it. Don't get me wrong, I love Z and I think people should like it for all the reasons that I just listed. I think those are all great things. But I think people kind of ignore the downsides of it because of nostalgia. And nostalgia kind of taints Super in a way as well, because they have such a high standard of Z because they watched it growing up. And even if you're rewatching it now, you're still rewatching it with the feelings and thoughts about it that you had back then when you first watched it growing up and stuff like that. So things like Goku doing all this stupid shit in Z, like we talked about it on the other stream, but what's a dumb thing that Goku does in Z? Not taking his heart medicine, or telling his wife that he's not going to be able to be back for, he's leaving for good because he needs to go live with the Oob in his village, even though he can use instant transmission, and like all these little things about Z that don't make sense. You don't really notice that when you're a kid, and then when you watch it as an adult, it either goes over your head and you don't notice it very much, or you kind of give it a pass for whatever reason. And I think now that people are adults, they're engaging with Super for the first time, and they're seeing a lot of the same things, but they don't like it as much now when they're seeing it because, you know, they're an adult and they have the ability to reason a lot better than they did when they were a kid. And they think, oh, yeah, Goku kind of is a fucking idiot. Why is he such an idiot now when, you know, it was the same back then? But, okay, so I've given my reasons for why I think people like Z. There's more, but those I think are a lot of the big ones. If I'm forgetting anything, feel free to say, but... Man, I'm talking a lot. I need some water, but I'll get some in a little bit. Actually, I'll get some now. Give me 2 seconds. Okay, I got some chalky milk. I got this bussin' chocolate milk from like organic chocolate milk from some little shop that I'm near. Hella good. Bro yapped so hard he got dehydrated. Relax, man, relax. Alright. So next section, we went over why people like Z. Now let's do the big one. Why don't people like Super? So I touched on it just a second ago a little bit with the nostalgia thing. That's an important part of it, but so keep that in mind, but we're gonna go into the individual points here. What if Goku just happens to be allergic to peanuts and died for it one day suddenly? They would just wish him back with the Dragon Balls. A related video worth watching might be the most recent one from Moscow X, where they talk about why they like Chi-Chi now. Can you link that in my Discord, in the React channel? We can watch that later. It goes over things people used to hate but like now. Oh yeah, that would be good. Okay, so what has changed in Super? Why is it so different to the point where people can hate Super as much as some people do, but love Z? So what was the first one about the fights? The stakes. Are the stakes really that different? A lot of people say that because of the Dragon Balls getting their upgrades and the Super Dragon Balls and having Whis around to dial things back all the time, that the stakes are way lower now. But I think that the stakes are pretty much the same, and they're just implemented in different ways. So I'm still trying to, formulate my thoughts about this. I have some notes, but they're shittily written because I just did them this morning, so bear with me. But let's say Battle of Gods. So yes, don't even say it. Technically, Battle of Gods is Z, but we all know Battle of Gods is Super, okay? Let's just be honest with each other. Battle of Gods is the start of Super, yes. It has the same stakes as there were in Z. So Beerus says, I'm gonna blow up this planet, and you go, oh shit, everyone's gonna die and the series is gonna be over. Obviously it's not gonna be, but it's the same as it would be when Vegeta blew up the planet. Yes, you can wish anyone you want back with the Dragon Balls, but if the planet's gone and everyone dies along with it at the same time, there's no one to make the wish and there's no Dragon Balls to make the wish on. So the stakes are the same. But then we go forward, and a lot of the other arcs in Dragon Ball Super have the same stakes that they had in the original Dragon Ball. In Z, basically every fight is a fight for the survival of Earth or the universe, as in the Buu Saga. But in original Dragon Ball, a lot of the fights were just like, we're fighting to win a tournament, or we're fighting for fun, or these people want to rob me, or something like that. They're not really that big a deal until the very end of Dragon Ball, where it's like, oh shit, like, oh, he killed a bunch of my friends, I need to wish them back, and beat this guy before he takes over the world. And we come back to that a little bit in Super, where you have things like the Universe 6 arc, where they just have a tournament, the Universe 6 tournament. And the stakes are what? Earth gets transferred to another universe that they have only known about for a few days or a few weeks, It's been longer than that, but it's only been like 30 episodes or I don't know, something like that before Universe 6 tournament, maybe a little bit more. Who cares if you're in Universe 6 versus Universe 7? Who gives a fuck if you have this fat god that you just met versus this skinny god of destruction that you met a few months ago? It really, the stakes are not all that interesting. And then you have stuff like the Tournament of Power, which people say it had no stakes because in the end, in the anime, they said they would just wish that all the universes were going to come back anyway, or whatever. But Zeno assumed that they were going to wish the universes back anyway, and that was the purpose of the tournament. But it's different in the manga. And I think people they misunderstand where the stakes come from. So yes, you can wish everything back with the Dragon Balls. Of course you can, because they don't want Dragon Ball to just end, right? Obviously not. but they still want to have interesting things happen. They want to have a character die, and then, oh, we can bring them back. Oh wait, we can't bring them back with these Dragon Balls. We have to go get these ones. Oh wait, these ones, something happened to them, so we need to use the Super Dragon. You know, it's just a means for them to go on a new or different adventure, and they're still adding things that increase the stakes. So now, the universe could be destroyed by one thing or another, and then there's no Dragon Balls to wish anyone back on. And if there's no universe, then I don't know how Whis' power works. I don't know if he can turn the... I guess he can't. He did it for like a timeline, so I guess. Whis, I agree, will taint stakes a little bit, but we'll get into that in a second. That's for a later conversation, or a later point. But then you have things like Zeno, who can just erase everything. And at the beginning of the Tournament of Power, Zeno was already going to just erase everything because he was bored. Like, these are very high stakes. Like, the erasure of literally everything is... They're high stakes worthy of kind of deflecting this criticism that Dragon Ball doesn't have stakes anymore at all. And they've also added things like Hakai. And now, Hakai it's a little bit weird in the anime because some people just tank it. But there's a difference between the Hakai energy and the, like, destruction technique. It's a little bit complicated. But the idea that you can just be erased from existence is the danger now. It's that either your universe, something terrible will happen to the whole universe, or specifically your being will just be erased from existence by like Beerus or, you know, one of these other fuckers who can use the Hakai energy or technique. And so, in my eyes, the stakes are still there. They're just a little bit different than they were in Z. And that doesn't mean it's bad. You can not like the way that they're implementing the stakes. The Hakai stuff has been a little bit wishy-washy in Super, I can agree with that. They've changed it a little bit. They're kind of still... I think a lot of Super was them still kind of trying to figure out exactly what they want to do with all this stuff and fleshing it out. This whole expanded universe of gods and all these new deities and new universes and all that stuff. They're still kind of fleshing it out, which is why it feels like sometimes there are retcons or sometimes some things don't make a whole lot of sense, but we'll get into that a little bit later. But the next thing I want to talk about is the purpose for the fights. That was the next point about Z. So the battling of ideologies. And they still have that in Super. So, you know, I'm not sure why people discard these arcs, like the Future Trunks arc. I think it's just because we, you know, magically turned back time at the end, which did suck. I didn't like that either. But the point of the Future Trunks arc, the fight against Zamasu, and the Tournament of Power is the same battling of ideologies that you had in Z. It's not the Tournament of Power is not like the Vegeta and Frieza one, but the Future Trunks arc definitely is. It's this god who is born a god, who thinks that he is doing what's right for the universe. He thinks that his system is the best system, and that is clashing with the mortals, with Trunks and with Goku and, you know, our timelines people. So it's the same clashing of ideologies. Whis rewound Trunks' timeline? Yeah. In the anime, only. And then in the Tournament of Power, it's like, it's bringing the whole thing back around to this absolute clash of loner, strength comes from within, versus here's all my friends and I get my strength from them. And it's like this absolute clash of two ideologies, of characters that are realistically the same, but got there from different angles, from different perspectives. It's, a lot of people have said this, and this is like the very basic understanding. Not that it's wrong, but like on the most basic level, it's here's Goku if he didn't have the Dragon Balls. If Goku wasn't able to wish back all the people that kept dying throughout his life, then this would probably be what he's like. This guy who has suffered over and over the loss of people that he loves, and now understands that he can't put his emotional weight on those people. He has to find this strength from within, because he doesn't want to be hurt anymore. And if you're putting your strength in your friends, and then your friends are ripped away time after time, then your strength is there goes your strength as well. There goes the foundation for your And so it's this clash between Goku and Jiren that I think is really interesting, that a lot of people missed when they watched that arc. They just say that, oh, Jiren just has this typical tragic backstory, and he never talks, he doesn't have a personality, and he sucks. He was a wasted character. And this is why I made my Jiren video, because I saw people saying stuff like this, and I thought, oh, that's not how I saw it at all. I love Jiren. So it just to show kind of, here's another perspective, and why. What?
I'm just putting shoes on.
Here's another perspective, and here's a reason that you should like him instead of just discarding him in the way that a lot of people do. Welcome, Warrior. He didn't do that? I thought he was sent to a different timeline. Was it? I don't know. I thought he fixed shit, but yeah, maybe he just sent him to the timeline where Zamasu was dead. But those two had to live with another Trunks and Mai, so it was, I don't know. Anyway, I'd have to look back at it. It's been a while since I read that arc. It's been a few months. Punch got sent to a timeline Beerus created when Zamasu was erased. Yes, okay. I got you. Understood, yes. This is about Jiren being a bad antagonist? No. I'm just talking about why people don't like Super right now. Okay. Anyway. No more Future Trunks talk. Let's carry on. So, what's next? The world was the next one. Well, there was forms also, but we'll get to forms a little bit later. So, when it comes to the world of Dragon Ball in Super, there are a lot of changes. We've got a new key system, and we've got all these new deities that we didn't hear about in Z. And, some people just don't like the way that these things were handled. So the key system, we've watched a few of those videos where people don't like God Key. But then we watched Jordan's video the other day, which kind of explains God Key as someone who has looked into it with, I don't want to say good faith, but with giving Super enough time and enough thought to come up with a reason why, or to come up with what maybe they meant by this, and not just saying, oh, it sucks because it's gone, or after whatever arc they stopped talking about it, for whatever reason. And that it's not a new, it is a new key system, but it's not entirely new, in that it needs all this extra lore around it. It just is regular key, but very condensed, and a more purified version of it. Which is why some people have it and some people can't, and that's why some people can climb up to these godly levels of power without God Key. It's just like a form of key control that is different. And I feel like people didn't really grasp that concept, and they've discarded Super or God Key in general because of that. when if they just taken some time to think about it a little bit and understand, they might have liked it a little bit more. Please look at my last comment. You had to let his, yeah, I see it, I see it. He had to let his counterpart know about the universe and everything. You guys are right. Yeah, okay, you're right. I got you. Anyway, I'm kind of rambling a little bit now. So we'll get back on track. Let's talk about the forums really quick. So, what are the common criticisms of the forums? That they're recolors. This is the main one, right? Is that Super Saiyan God and Blue, and I think it doesn't quite extend to UI, but most people have an issue with Blue. Let's be honest. They think Blue is just a recolor of Super Saiyan, and they don't like it. Which, on one hand, I understand. Like, you wanted something that was more physically changing. So, at the end of Z, you get things like Super Saiyan 3. He's got the longer hair, the more pronounced brow, no eyebrows. And then in GT, you got Super Saiyan 4, which was, he had the fur and the different hair, the way bushier hair, and all that stuff. So I can understand that people might want more creative forms, kind of like Frieza had in the original. I don't know why I said original, in Z. Because all 4 of Frieza's forms were very unique. None of them really looked like the others, but like you could still see it's the same character, but he is changing drastically. His forms are meant for different things. They give him different abilities, and you have to fight them differently. It's very interesting. But that's pretty much the only way that they do that in Z. And I don't... Okay, first of all, let's just say first about them being recolors. Yeah, I mean, Blue is kind of just a recolor of Super Saiyan, but it comes with the cool aura. They have way cooler auras in Super, which you can take it or leave it. I like them. Some people don't care. But God and Super Saiyan Blue, I think both have really cool looking auras with the little particles in them, and they look a lot more fiery and blah blah blah. And then on the other side, with them not changing the physical appearance very much, Super Saiyan 3 is about as much as you get with changing the Saiyan's appearances, other than Ozaru, obviously. But you get the long hair. It's the same color, so it's not a recolor. Same color hair, and then the pronounced brow, and that's about it. And then with the other forms, you have Super Saiyan or Zero. Thank you for. I almost says thank you for subscribing. Thank you for becoming a member, I guess. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. I will get this new mic, I promise you guys. Eventually, I will get it. I love God's fiery aura. Yeah, I like it too. The Saiyans evolve through Chi and Frieza's morph, and Frieza morphs his body. Full parallel. Yeah, I haven't thought about it that way actually, but yeah, that is an interesting point.
I have a question.
What's your question?
So, obviously you know more about like what it actually means to be Super Saiyan. All that stuff, better than I do. But it seems to me like whenever there's like a big change within the person, that's when like the form of the human being. So it's not like Super Saiyan God. It's not like it's not. You know, it's like him drawing on another source, but it seems like it's an evolution that he's kind of used to, just using a different kind of power. So it makes sense to me that that wouldn't be like a big physical change.
Yeah.
It would just be like a recolor, quote unquote recolor. I'm drawing.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think, well, one of the reasons that people like Super Saiyan 4 so much is because they give him his tail back, and he returns kind of to the Saiyan roots, where It's got the elements of the great ape. He's got the fur, and he's got the tail, and people like that. But all these Super Saiyan forms, from Super Saiyan to Super Saiyan God and Super Saiyan Blue, which is the same as Super Saiyan. Yeah, they're all basically playing on the same type of power, and it's not drawing from any additional sources. They're all just different key-based forms. So it makes sense that he'll stay the same. He also looks younger in Super Saiyan, which, yeah, Jordan's right. I talk about that in my Goku video that's coming out soon. Where was I? Oh yeah, so when it comes to the Z forms, you have Super Saiyan and Super Saiyan 2. Super Saiyan is spiky hair, and instead of being a recolor, it's just not a color. I mean, people say that the super forms are lazy, but I mean, we all know the story about how Super Saiyan came to be, with them not wanting to color in the hair. So, you know, I think it kind of, that criticism kind of misses the mark. The pen to twirl around instead of this toothpick. And then what do you get after Super Saiyan? You have Super Saiyan Grade 3, which is, it's me but with bigger muscles, you know, whatever. I mean, that's not really much of a, this is not a grand creative change. This is not the peak of creative design here. Not that I don't like it. Well, I don't like it. I don't like Grade 3, really. Grade 4 is literally just the same thing again, but without the aura. And then Gohan has a different hairstyle. He has like his base hairstyle. And then we've got Super Saiyan 2. What is Super Saiyan 2? It is Super Saiyan, except with lightning sometimes. Sometimes there is no lightning, anyway, or sometimes there's no lightning either. You kind of just are left to assume that when they go Super Saiyan after the Cell Saga, they're all just going Super Saiyan 2, pretty much. Except for Vegeta, but later on it becomes the same with him, etc., etc. Grade 4 has normal eyes and not the angular eyes. Let's go, dude. So it's all these little things that, like, you don't even really notice unless you are really looking closely. So yeah, so Super Saiyan 2 is meant to have this electric lightning kind of aura around it, but even then it doesn't always. It is exactly the same as Super Saiyan. Let's look me in the eye right now. Let's be honest with each other. It's exactly the same as Super Saiyan. So the criticism that Super has just recolors, it misses for me personally, because I look back at Z and I see, well, here are these forms that aren't even recolors. They're literally exactly the same. They just say it's different, and they say that this character is more angry. You know? And then, so the next thing is that they made Super Saiyan less cool. One, by adding all these new forms, which, you know, if that's your opinion, if you think that, if you really love Super Saiyan, just add Super Saiyan as a concept, and 2 you like because it's the same as Super Saiyan, basically, just a little bit upgraded, that's cool. And I can understand why you might not like that they added these new forms, and you want to stay in Z, and that's fine. I don't think you should shit talk Super for doing that, but you know, if you want to stay back in Z with regular Super Saiyan, that's up to you. What?
Actually, I think it's really interesting that there's
Come over.
I think it's really interesting that there's people who really like Super Saiyan, but they don't like the form because they're recolor. Because isn't that the point of Super Saiyan? Is that it was just literally a recolor that you don't want to color the hair in anymore? So.
Yeah.
I wonder what that is.
Okay, where was I? Oh, yeah. So people think that Super Saiyan now is less cool because they added the new forms, and also because they have changed the way that Super Saiyan works with Universe 6, and this is a very controversial topic. A lot of people really hate this moment with the tingly back thing, and here's how the Universe 6 Saiyans turn Super Saiyan. And while I understand, I get that, and I can see why people might be mad about it, it kind of bothers me as well. But when I look back at Z, I see the Buu Saga, where Goten and Trunks kind of just go Super Saiyan because. And, you know, like Vegeta says, it's a Super Saiyan bargain sale, or whatever he says to Trunks when he first realizes he can go Super Saiyan. So, it was not... And then the S-Cells thing came back in Z also. I'm pretty sure. I don't remember exactly. But regardless, it does kind of downplay a little bit, but no more than it already was during the Buu Saga, where, you know, pretty much everyone can just go Super Saiyan because they're infinitely strong from birth, or whatever. And like the big anger thing that Goku had to go through, and Vegeta had to go through, and then what Gohan went through in the time chamber, that kind of is erased a little bit in favor of, okay, we can just turn into this form now. Jordan says, it's literally just the technique they used to go Super Saiyan without a trigger. Yeah, and everyone does that. And you see that in every arc of Z, where, you know, is Goku, like, incredibly angry every time he goes Super Saiyan? No, he might tap into those feelings when he goes Super Saiyan, like he's saying when he talks to Gohan in the time chamber. He might think of, like, oh, remember that time that Krillin died? And then he goes, ah, and then he goes Super Saiyan. It doesn't really seem like that's the case. It seems like they want him to go Super Saiyan, so he just transforms into Super Saiyan. And you have some kind of feeling that you can tap into to go Super Saiyan. And this is the, like, concentration of ki that the Universe 6 Saiyans use to go Super Saiyan with the back thing. Maybe they could have used a little... better, instead of like, oh, my back is tingly, maybe they could have said like, oh, my dick is tingly, or my head, it feels like it's about to explode, and then they go Super Saiyan or whatever. But I don't it's not really much of a change. Also, Universe 6 were specified to be evolved differently. It's basically a planet full of Trunks and Gotens. Yeah. Doesn't matter because it's a different universe. That's a base take. People feel like it loses narrative weight when the initial transformation is... Yeah, I mean that's one side of it, but also you have to think about it from, how did Vegeta teach Kaba to go Super Saiyan? It was the same. He made him very angry, and then he went Super Saiyan. So, I mean, it was the same, just on a more condensed level, and then they just kind of sped up the process that Vegeta took, where Vegeta has to go and train a bunch on his own, and then finally, after all this work, he realizes how to turn Super Saiyan. And they just do that in like 20 minutes, 10 minutes. They're just like, okay, here's how we do it, here's our way to just tap into it without having to go through this like traumatic experience. But I want to talk a little bit more about why I think they're not just recolors. But first, I want to say how... Okay. It's weird, because I want to say, yes, they are recolors, and I don't want people to say that I'm contradicting myself. So I need to, like... You guys have to bear with me while I explain this. So... In a way, Blue is a recolor of Super Saiyan. But you have to also remember that Super Saiyan Blue is Super Saiyan. It's the same. It is the same form. Understand? Right? So it's Super Saiyan God with Super Saiyan on top of it. So it's God Ki plus we're going Super Saiyan, and it just happens to be blue. This is not like them trying to create... I mean, in a way, it is them trying to create a new form, because, you know, they want a new form. New forms are cool. But also, it's the same thing. It's them saying, all right, here's what you guys love. Here's Super Saiyan from Z, but here it is in Super. And we're using the God Ki, and this is our main form like it was in Z, but now we're in Super and it's blue instead. And that's pretty much it. But in other ways, it's totally different, because in a lot of ways, Super Saiyan Blue is the antithesis of Super Saiyan. Because what is Super Saiyan all about? It's about rage, it's about power. It's especially in Super Saiyan 3, it's about like total, like complete power output at the cost of stamina. And what is Blue about? Blue is about like staying calm and focus and control. And it's like totally the opposite. It's about complete order. And so I think what people miss this aspect of it and just say, oh, it's just a recolor because it looks the same but with a different color hair. But the aura is different, and the purpose behind the forms, the concept behind them, and the way that they enter these forms, the way they control these forms, are totally different. And it feels like if you don't like Super and you want to hate on it, then it's an easy thing to discard. It's an easy thing to not look into or not appreciate. It's achieving Super Saiyan with control instead of going out of control. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah. Key control versus key explosion. Yes. And so I talk about this in my video that's coming out soon, hopefully tomorrow. But they take Z, these forms in Z that are about rage and power and entropy, like Super Saiyan 3, and they come into Super and they say, okay, we're dialing this back, we're going to God. He's much more lean, he's, you know, a lot more stoic, he's not having to, you know, rage and scream to go into this form. And then we're adding on Blue, and it's even more about control, and it's even more the antithesis of Z. And yeah, I don't know. I feel like maybe some people, they wanted more of this rah kind of angry Goku on one hand, but on the other hand, you think, well, people really liked End of Z, and they really liked how Goku is becoming a master, and he's more calm and more knowledgeable and all this stuff. So shouldn't you like Blue, where he's learning more about focus, and especially UI, which is even more so? It's like Blue turned up to the maximum. And what's interesting to me is that people pretty much only talk about Blue. Most people like UI, I think, from what I've seen. Most people don't shit talk Ultra Instinct very much. And part of that, I think, is because Ultra Instinct comes back full circle to original Dragon Ball. But that's something that Blue does also, that I think people miss because they just say, they see the spiky hair and the new color and they dismiss it right away. But what are his lessons in original Dragon Ball? It's, you know, be calm, flow like water or some shit like that, you know. And then allow your body to move on its own is something that Popo teaches him way back in the day. And I did my video about Popo, explains this more in depth. But now we're coming back to that with Ultra Instinct. So we've got this loop from Dragon Ball to Super, and Super in a lot of ways is discarding the progression of power from Z, but it's not regressing the characters, as in we're forgetting the lessons we learned in Z. It's we're remembering the lessons that we learned in original Dragon Ball, and we're learning how to reconcile those two things. So I get a lot of power when I get angry and when I let my emotions take over, but also when I control my emotions and I control my ki as much as possible, then I can use this power way more efficiently. And so we're now, especially in the Granola arc with True Ultra Instinct, we're combining these things, and Goku is kind of figuring out how do I use the best of both worlds together with who I am as a person and get the best possible output. So how do I use this power from Z, and how do I use the stillness from original Dragon Ball, put them together, and a form or whatever that is the best of both worlds. Yeah, so those are some of the reasons that I really like Blue and Goku's progression specifically through Super with the forms and stuff like that. And then with Vegeta, we're getting a lot of loops back to Z, because obviously Vegeta wasn't in original Dragon Ball. But with Ultra Ego, we're getting this full rotation back to, before I used this kind of anger that I had and this ruthlessness that I had, and that's where my power came from. And now I'm becoming more like Goku. I've got this family, I've got these friends, but I'm kind of losing touch with this person that I used to be, or this person that I really am. And now with Ultra Ego, he's kind of having to, again, reconcile the two and figure out, who am I? Am I this guy that I am at the start of Super, where I'm going on vacations with my family? Or am I this guy from the start of Z, where I'm ruthless and I'm just killing my enemies and allies, and the weak are worthless, and that's where I draw my power from. And the reason that he loses his first go of it in Ultra Ego is because he has not really reconciled those two things yet. And that's why it's taken Goku so long to master Ultra Instinct, and why now we're at true Ultra Instinct. There was like 2 or 3 different kinds of Ultra Instinct, and he's still kind of honing in exactly where on that spectrum he needs to be. And this is the start of Vegeta doing that as well. So Ultra Ego is just the beginning, just like Ultra Instinct first lost to Jiren, and even Mastered Ultra Instinct first lost to Jiren. He's still honing in where on that spectrum of ruthlessness that he really is. Hold on. I need to drink my chalky milk. Drinking my chalky milk while having a conversation with my friends online about my favorite cartoon. So, reusing character arcs from the Boo arc? What do you mean? My biggest problem with Super is that there's no real emotional magnitude toward the conflict anymore. No emotional reason to fight any of the villains. Yeah, I mean, I understand that perspective, but like I said, this is it coming back around to Dragon Ball. So in original Dragon Ball, it was like that a lot of the time. A lot of early Dragon Ball stuff was, a lot of these fights were kind of whatever. Like maybe someone was trying to rob you, or was being mean to the people of this town, or there wasn't a whole lot of build up for the villains. It was kind of a villain of the week kind of thing, and yada yada. And it's coming back to that a little bit. You still get some of the big emotional fights, like against Zamasu. You had that. Goku versus Jiren was very emotionally charged. These battling ideologies. Moro is like that as well. Everyone loves Moro. Well, not everyone, but Moro is bringing that back as well. I think because it's not animated yet, people kind of forget about it or miss it. Yeah. Only until Red Ribbon when he actually starts to get reasons to fight. Yeah. Alright. So, if you guys have any more issues with Super, before I move on. Put them in the Discord or whatever, or here in chat. I guess I'll read it. All right, so let's talk about nostalgia again for a moment. I'm ending both of these with nostalgia topics. Probably not the best idea, but I just want to emphasize again that a lot of us watched Z when we were kids, when we were growing up, and it's special to you, special to me, because we grew up with it. But the main point is that you watched Z when it was meant for you. You watched Dragon Ball Z when you were the target audience. And now, a lot of people are watching Dragon Ball Super as adults when it's not meant for them. It's still meant for teenagers. It's meant for teenage boys. And it's okay to like Dragon Ball as an adult, obviously, I do. But yeah, you have to understand that it's gonna have these silly gags, and it's gonna have the, oh, that's cool, because that's what kids want to see. That's what teenagers want to see. And that's what like the general audience wants to see. And I think the issue for a lot of people is that they wanted Super. Okay, so we have to remember that there's a massive gap between Z and Dragon Ball Super. And a lot of people wanted Super to be a continuation of the end of Z. Right? I think we can all agree on that. They wanted Goku to be like this mysterious master, not mysterious, but this kind of stoic master who's very knowledgeable and can teach everyone about these things that he learned over this lifetime of fighting, and maybe take a step back and for Vegeta to also change and not be so obsessed with Goku anymore, and or focus on his family or some other things, etc., etc. And since that's not what we got, since we got kind of more of a continuation of the actual arcs of Z, not end of Z, then people are kind of disappointed that we're getting more of the same instead of having these drastic changes with Goku and Vegeta and the rest of the guys. When we're getting a bit of a slower burn in Super, Goku and Vegeta are having their character changes, especially in the Moro arc and the Granola arc, but these are very recent arcs. In the first few, they really weren't changing at all. It was mostly the same, not a whole lot of character growth from those two guys, from a lot of their characters. But now we are getting that. We're getting some like pretty grand realizations from Goku, and a lot of reconnecting with roots in the Granola arc, and emotional changes and stuff like that. So I think people who have discarded it already before these arcs started to come out, they're missing out on what they actually wanted from Super by just not really waiting patiently. Let's go Daima and Super. Yeah, something being to sell toys. I hate this argument. Do I really need to talk about this? I'm a buyer of said toys. I killed Dragon Ball. Everything is made to sell toys, okay? But the purpose of writing, the purpose of the art in itself is not to sell toys. They want to make the art, and then the people, the corporation around Z or Super or any of this or any of these animes, they want to make money on it so they A, can continue to do it, and B, because money is how you do everything. So yes, of course they want to sell toys and make money, but I don't think that forms are being created by the writers just to sell toys. I think that is a bit of a stretch. it's a little disingenuous to the people that are working hard to create these things that people will like. And that's another thing. It kind of is contradictory in and of itself, in that people right. People need to like these forms to buy toys of them. If you don't like it, you're not gonna spend money on it. So they have to make things that people like first and foremost, and I think they do that well. I don't want to spend too much time on they're only doing it to sell toys thing, because it's just like a stupid hand wave thing that people say, and it's annoying and it's disingenuous and it's shitty. Honestly, it's pretty shitty to the people who are creating these things. Okay. My throat hurts a little bit. We're moving on, okay? So, I have a few notes here. And I haven't really talked about this before, about what I think there is to criticize about Super. I say a lot when we're watching these videos, there are reasons to criticize Dragon Ball, but this isn't it, Chief, or whatever. I say that a lot. But I never really have gone into the reasons to criticize Super that I think there are. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what is wrong with Super, things I don't like about it, or maybe not really things that I don't like about it, but things that I think are understandable to not like about it. Reasons why you might not like it if you're a Dragon Ball fan. And obviously Super isn't for everyone. So if you want a more grounded story, then Super definitely is not for you. And what I mean by that is that Z is a lot more focused on, not focused on, but there's a lot more moments of them interacting with humans, or like how are the humans reacting to what's going on, and how does this affect human society and stuff like that. You know, so like in the Cell Saga, when the androids are driving around and enjoying Earth or whatever, they're interacting with humans in this way and that way, and Cell is attacking these human towns, and he goes on the human news. And in the Buu Saga, here are cities full of humans that are suffering, and Babidi's like talking to the humans and getting them to snitch and do stuff like that. And Super doesn't really have that stuff. Super kind of, we've bumped up a scale, and now we're not really focused on the humans anymore. We're kind of in a different realm with the gods, and we focus on our main characters, and we focus on the deities that there are now and the other universes, these like funny little characters that are aliens and stuff like that. We're not really interacting with human cities or human civilizations that much anymore. So if you like that, if you like the how are these like powerful beings interacting with humans, and how is this affecting human society, if you like that kind of stuff, then Super might not be for you, or you might not like that the fact that Super kind of veers away from that, which is understandable. The next one, Super has a lot more gags, I think, a lot more. It is a lot more comedy focused than Z, I believe. Unless I'm misremembering Z. I mean, Z does have that stuff too, obviously. But Super has a decent amount more slice of life kind of comedy stuff happening in it. Like, you know, Beerus and Whis and their food thing, and Goku and Vegeta sitting around with them and bantering, and, you know, all that kind of stuff. You know, if you don't want the gag series stuff, then, you know, maybe Super's not for you. Go watch fucking, I don't know, JJK or something like that. One of these, what are they called, the Dark Trio, or, you know, they don't really have, I'm sure they've got goofy, fun moments, but, you know, they're more dark, they're more adult. stuff like that. Less comedy focused. What I talked about for this segment, so if you wanted a continuation of Z, you wanted all these characters, you wanted to see what these characters were like after the end of Z, and you wanted more growth out of them and stuff like that, then you might not like it. You might prefer GT or something like that, because the growth in Dragon Ball, like I said, comes a lot, or the growth in Dragon Ball Super comes more slowly, and we're now we're getting into it with Moro and Granola and even the superhero arc a little bit for Piccolo and go on, but yeah. My favorite moments in JJK are the funny moments, not gonna lie. I haven't watched JJK, so I just assume that it's a little darker. And then I guess, I don't know. If you hate Frieza, if you don't like Frieza, you won't like Super because he's around a lot. So, steer clear. And now, I didn't write these down, but what do I not like about Super? Is there stuff that I don't like? People talk a lot about the animation quality. There are times where I'm not a fan of the animation. The new style they went with it's kind of hit or miss. I think it looks good sometimes. It misses sometimes. Sometimes the animation is great. I guess the criticism is that it's inconsistent, and I agree with that. The animation quality can be inconsistent for sure. I wish they would do a little bit more universe building. I suppose they've done a bit, but then they kind of just come back to a fight. I like the kind of Zamasu arc elaboration on gods and that whole universe of deities and other realms and stuff like that. And then if you're hoping for other characters to come back, it's another reason not to like Super, for sure. If you want Krillin to be useful, if you want Yamcha to pull his weight, you're gonna fucking hate Super, obviously. And that's understandable. Like, these are characters that people also grew up with and they really like, and now they're doing fuck all. And Yamcha's not even in most of the show. But it's the same with Z. I mean, let's be honest. The humans don't do shit during Z. They help out every now and then, but in reality, at the end of the day, they're pretty fucking useless. But since Super is still ongoing, I still have hope that they're gonna be bringing these characters back. I mean, they've made Piccolo relevant again, and they're bringing up the new generation a little bit. I wish they would have done it a little sooner, but the fact that they are trying to go in that direction again is a good sign to me. I like to laugh at a fight sometimes. Yeah. Permanent Power is the best animated arc in all of Dragon Ball. I don't know if I remember closely enough to say that, but it definitely was good. Especially the Goku versus Jiren fights were just fucking great. Okay. So now, to round everything off, to round off all my points, I just want to talk about what there is to like about Super. Obviously, I'm preaching to the choir with most of you guys, but I just want to end positively, you know. So we've talked a lot about what there isn't to like, what there is to dislike, and now I want to talk about what there is to like about it, or what I think there is to like about it. So first of all, if you want a bigger scale, if you want these grand like multiverse and gods and all this stuff, if you like that stuff, as opposed to the first point of the last section, where you may have liked more down to earth with dealing with human stuff, if you prefer the grand scale things, then obviously Super is great. Me personally, I like that stuff. I like all the gods, this godlike universe that they've set up. I think it's really cool, so I like it a lot. And then That's another point. Like, if you just like cool shit happening, if you're not all that invested and you just want to see cool shit happen, the super is there for you, right? It puts the rule of cool stuff above almost everything else. Like, UI is really fucking cool. Blue, it's got these cool auras, and Blue with Kyle Ken is really fucking cool, and we've got like gods doing this and gods doing that. It's they try to do cool shit and they succeed at it, I think. So if you don't care that much, or things being cool is what's most important to you, or is very important to you, then Super's really good at that. And and like I said, even the forums, like, UI is really fucking cool. And also, like I said, if you want to see the universe expand, because in Z we had kind of a slowly expanding universe. Like, you're on Earth, okay, here's the god of Earth, Kami, we're meeting God, isn't that crazy, in Dragon Ball? And then in Z, we don't really do a whole lot of that. We have, here's other planets, let's go into space, and we're dealing with aliens all the time now, and here's this alien that's bad, and here's this alien that's bad. And that's cool. And now in Super we've got, in the Buu Saga, then we went up to, we got King Kai initially, and now we've got the Supreme Kai, and here's all these different levels of gods, and now we're going more into that, and here's the level above them, kind of, or equal to, with the gods of destruction above them in power, at least. And then you've got the angels, and you've got Zeno, and the other universes have all their gods and all this stuff. And then we've also got hints of things outside of these universes, of these realms. We've got Zalama and what the fuck's up with him, and the Super Dragon Balls, and how is he strong enough to make these Super Dragon Balls that can even counter things that Zeno has done. And all that stuff is, I think, very interesting, and I hope they expand on it even more. And I'm thinking they might. Hopefully they will. But yeah, if you want to see more in like the realm of the gods and that stuff, then obviously Super is what's doing all that work. I feel like Daima will tie into the Namekian realm mentioned in the Granola arc. That would be really cool. I really hope so. That would be fucking great. I really want to know more about Namekian shit, because there's so much mystery surrounding them. They are like, the name of the series is Dragon Ball, the things that the Namekians created. So hopefully we learn more about, you know, their origins and about Zalama and stuff like that. Like, maybe Zalama is even stronger than Zeno, and he's the next thing that we have to conquer after the angels, or, you know, whatever. A lot of people have issues with character growth in Super, like we've talked about. But I think one thing that Super does really well is having all of its characters split and do their own thing. So we don't just have Goku and here's 8 other little mini Gokus that are all trying to be the strongest and trying to save the world and do the same thing. We've got Krillin is a cop now, and Gohan is a university professor or some shit like that. He gives lectures or I don't know, something. And even within people who are doing basically the same thing, like Goku and Vegeta, you have different avenues of power that they're going down. So you've got Piccolo is getting in touch with his roots, being a Namekian. And then you've got Gohan, who said, I'm a human and I'm gonna advance myself as a human. And he's got the kind of human plus Kai power progression going on. And then you have Goku, who is going with the angels. He's got the whole stoic Ultra Instinct thing going on. And then you have Vegeta, who's going the God of Destruction route and all this stuff. Everyone is getting their own different branch on this tree of power. And I think that's pretty cool, and something that Z didn't really manage to do effectively, because everyone was just, Vegeta was just chasing Goku. They're doing the same thing. They're hitting the same forms mostly, and then now here's Gohan and he's doing the same thing, and Trunks is got the same forms, and they're all pretty much going up the same just pillar, and now we've got these different branches, and I think that's pretty neat. And then finally, if you want a return to Dragon Ball, if you're a big fan of the original Dragon Ball and like the mysticism and kind of Eastern whatever the fuck that comes along with that, then it's got a lot of that stuff in it as well. Fuck. So you'd enjoy that. Those are the things that I think there are to like about Super. Obviously there's things about the animation, like it's got some good animation, and the forms I think are cool personally, but those are just my few quick points, and that is, thus concludes my, I don't know, 2 hours of talking straight about Dragon Ball. Super Saiyans. Yeah, that's what he's doing. That's what Gohan's up to. Learning about the Saiyans. Anyway, there we go. Thoughts? Opinions? Let's see what you guys are saying. Isn't Gohan studying ants? I don't got much to say. Wow, alright, man. Yeah, thank you, Nazanik and Zero again for the memberships. I appreciate you guys. That's fucking lit, dude. Thanks, guys. That's so epic. Sorry. Let's go! Oh my god, I finished my music. Oops. Went through a whole Dragon Ball music to relax and fall asleep to video already. Super is giving most people their own path instead of all the same. Yes. What do you think? Oh, the Namekian in the Daima trailer. It involves the demon realm. Might be Demon King Piccolo. What if Junior fused with him? Yeah, that'd be interesting. I don't know. I try not to speculate too much on that stuff, because who fucking knows what they're doing with the... Like, who was that? It looked like Kami, kind of, didn't it? They hint in the Moro arc that Vegeta... Jesus, hello? That Vegeta could defuse Piccolo and Nail and Kami if he wanted to. I wonder if they'll ever do anything with that. That would be pretty interesting. If he's got, I don't know, Piccolo has some thoughts about this orange form that he's got, and he doesn't want to rely on Kami or, I don't know, or Nail anymore, and you know, I doubt that they would get defused, yeah, but who knows what they'll do. I'm just waiting to see. I don't want to say any crazy shit and then it's wrong and then you all laugh at me and I look like an idiot. You know? Oh my god. I got an essay from Saiyan Scholar I gotta read. Because they're in the middle of a 10-year time skip. Yeah. Do you guys want them to retcon End of Z or no? I feel like a lot of people are worried about that, but then I asked the other day and people were down for it. They were chilling. They're like, yeah, fuck End of Z. That shit sucks. It's a bit goofy. It definitely needs a little bit of retconning. Only for the never see you again part, yeah. It didn't really make a whole lot of sense, did it? Did you guys post that Chi-Chi video in Discord? We can maybe watch that. But yeah, thank you guys for joining for the lecture portion. It was fun. I think I'll do more of these types of things in the future. If I have thoughts about stuff like that, just come on and chat shit about it. There's a lot of you here for it too, so that's good. Put it in there now? Okay. Stylus said activation code phrase accepted. Commencing Operation Dojo Killer. By the way, I sent Carthu a message this morning when I woke up, and then he responded and we talked for a little bit, and everything's good. We're all chill. Everyone's happy. I actually told him to add me on Discord, but he didn't, but it's fine. No problem. He was talking to me about the Ultra Instinct and Ultra Ego forms and stuff a little bit. I wanted to finish having the conversation with him, but I had to stream, so I cut it short, unfortunately. But I would love to finish the convo. You're not an idiot. I always wish... Thanks, man. I appreciate you saying I'm not an idiot. What? Yeah, I mean, it's kind of odd, right? Vegeta cares so much about the Saiyans, but he won't wish them back. I mean, he could wish them back and then show them that you don't have to be that ruthless to be powerful, and he can protect them against Frieza now, and they don't have to have this barbarian lifestyle anymore, and kind of reform the Saiyans a little bit. That'd be an interesting arc for him. But I don't know. You'd think he would have attempted it or something, but why?
I think that we were talking about he being focused on like Super Saiyan, and that being like, to be Super Saiyan is to be more angry, and that's like an intensification of Saiyanness.
Yeah.
I don't think that it's possible for Saiyans to be like not barbaric. I think that is core to the Saiyan.
Well, the Universe 6 Saiyans do it. They're not barbaric.
Well, yeah, but that's a different universe. I'm saying like in the universe that they are in, like this is what a Saiyan is.
You don't think you could reform them at all?
Well, no, because then what is Super Saiyan in that case?
I don't know, just a power boost?
Or like the way that...
But Saiyans get stronger the more peaceful they are. They're stronger than, like, when they go Super Saiyan, they get exponentially strong, or it's easier to go Super Saiyan the more peaceful you are initially. And there used to be good Saiyans also, and that's where Super Saiyan God comes from.
Mm. But it does take that, like, something like brutal has to happen to have this shift. That, like,
yeah, I think maybe they could be like, instead of barbarians, they could be like universe protectors, and they can fight against people that were doing what they used to do, and now their purpose is still fighting, but it's for a better cause or something like that. I don't know. Idea.
I don't think people would like that. I think the people that
Probably
like like how uncivil it is that this is what Saiyans are and this is what power is, and then like as you get into Super, it's like, yeah, but there's like different power, and it doesn't mean you have to be like ultimate monk to be super strong.
Yeah,
you can be a super strong like father and teacher. You can be a super strong like super peaceful creator of gardens. And, like there's.
Right.
I think that keeping that like barbaric element kind of keeps a good balance.
Yeah, perhaps. I don't know, I'm just a fucking idiot with a YouTube stream, so. You guys are lucky I'm not the one writing the series. I just overanalyze it when it comes out. I've been drinking. I work nights. Cool, man. Anyway, those are my thoughts. Join the Discord, by the way, if you're not in the Discord already. Most fans couldn't write the series anyway. Yeah, I mean, well, we see that with people like Redhead Henry, I guess. It's like fan stories are just a ton of fan service, obviously. It's just like the ridiculous things that they think would be cool to do. It's not actually particularly interesting or well thought out. Which is fine. I mean, it's fun to see that kind of stuff, but obviously the actual series can't do that. Like Star Wars fans, it would be cool if Darth Vader, I don't know, whoever the fuck, could like crush a planet with the Force or some shit like that, but you can't really put that into the show, or things would just be totally fucked. Shit like Ultra Vegito, yeah. Ultra Vegito, where he's got the one half purple and one half white. Security for apartments. And I deal with tweakers that want the Dragon Balls. What the fuck are you saying, man? You are out of control. Super heavily leans. Here comes Jordan with the Super's an allegory for. Super heavily leans into being an allegory for martial arts too, so if you don't understand the basis of that, it'd be easy to get confused about the narrative. Yeah, I mean, it's true. Jordan is a nerd, but he's right most of the time. All right. Let's watch this video and then wrap things up, probably. Yeah? See? Apparently this is a good video. Yeah.
Dude, what? People hate me?
People don't like Chi-Chi. I don't know what this video says, but people don't like Chi-Chi because she is like too heavy-handed with Gohan and it doesn't let Goku train and stuff, I think.
Okay, that's only people that watch this. It has to be.
Well, let's see what he says. Okay.
Opinions, folks, are things that evolve. And as we get older, those opinions often shift and evolve. Things are no different with Dragon Ball.
It's fucked. It's fucked. Hold on. Pause. Pause. Everything's fucked. I want this. Alright, whatever. I want this, except this needs to be... That's not right. That's just not right at all. Okay, there we go. We're good. This is not a good pause frame for this guy. Gotta be honest. Scuffed stream. I've literally been sitting here with one GIF playing for the past 2 hours.
Like any other sort of media, you don't look at the same thing in the franchise when you were at a teenager stage, or even as a young adult, or a
True? I've been saying this.
Adult. Sometimes it takes time to warm up to certain elements within the series, or certain characters.
He's spitting right now.
You then realize that your affinity for some of the stuff was just pure nostalgia. But nowadays,
can I 1.5
we are
this?
no longer
Are you guys
interested
okay
in
with
talking
that?
about things that we don't like. Instead, we would rather talk about characters and motifs
This
that
is fine.
have grown on us with time.
It's not
And
that
examples of
fast.
that can be found in most of the eras of the franchise. Some of these won't be surprises, but there are some hot takes in here, so hopefully you won't hate us for them. But we've got to start with a very classic Dragon Ball character that has been mistreated by the anime in the long run. Chi-Chi. Now, we have touched on the topic of Chi-Chi several times, but when you're a kid or you're a teenager, she's incredibly annoying.
Is this the Dragon Ball
why would she
fandom
be?
behind her?
Her kid and husband can do all of these incredible things, saving the Earth, and yet, despite all of that, she is portrayed as an overprotective stick in the mud and comes across sometimes as borderline. One reason for that is Toriyama's own admission that he doesn't really know how to write women who are, in his own words, gentle. And that's
Did he say this? That's crazy. Hold on.
Toriyama's own admission that he doesn't really know.
To be honest, I'm really not fond of Chi-Chi as a character. In the middle of the comic, I started to think, I don't want to draw her anymore. And sort of as a way of spiting myself, I decided, you'll have to draw her if she gets married to Goku, so marry them off. So I drew her as a kind of punishment. What the fuck, dude?
Women who are, in his own words,
That's crazy.
gentle. And that's kind of a crappy reason to do so, Toriyama. Especially that the anime is amping up her Tiger Mother motif up to 11. And honestly, the older you are,
So quiet. Is this not quiet for you guys?
the more you begin to see how unfair this truly is. She really wants what's best for her family, but her biggest problem is that her priorities are really not in line with the magical, mystical adventure world of Dragon Ball that she finds herself living in. It's very much a tonal problem that just sets herself out against the other characters. That she feels a little bit disconnected from the things that are
Okay, wait. Before we get into this, let me say what I think. Because we've talked about this before. I think before my Gohan video came out, we talked about Gohan a bunch, and I talked about this topic, about how it makes a lot of sense that she's overprotective because every other day her son is almost dead, and her husband is dead. So that's just like the TLDR of my take. It makes a lot of sense why she is the way she is.
going on around her. She's in another world at the moment in Dragon Ball Z and beyond, but if you think about it, she had to deal with a lot of really messed up stuff in her life. A lot more than what the average person would say, even in the Dragon World's average person. Getting through her own husband's death twice.
You're choking
Yet
on
she
a
still
shot now?
remained
You
quite
should stop
resilient
drinking,
and
buddy.
wanted what's best for her sons. Luckily, she does seem to be a little bit more relaxed at the end of Z, having chilled out a little bit. And we all really hope that we will eventually get there, past the end of Z. Now, the next thing on this list is the Dragon Ball Super villains and antagonists. Okay, hear us out on this one. Out of all the enemies that appeared in the Dragon Ball Super era of the show, only the likes of Beerus, Hit, New Broly, and Moro were met with initial enthusiasm. Maybe Goku Black to a lesser extent, but that whole motif, that whole shebang, whew, that was a much more complicated animal. Also, most of those guys weren't really even villains. With
Why does everything looks like this? I think he has like a color correction over the whole video, and it is affecting the photos.
we told you about, they eventually become allies of the Dragon Team, and Moro is, for now, a manga exclusive character.
never mind.
And in our opinion,
It's not
he
on
lost a
this.
lot of his charm when he switched his ram snout for a just perfect cell-like face, only to regain some novelty when he fused to the planet Earth itself. That's when he became a tragic villain. Beerus works greatly as a point of reference for other characters. Broly is generally a better take on the old Broly. I'm not dissing old Broly, folks. We just prefer the newer version. And Hit, well,
Based?
he just makes the donuts really, really well. And he was kind of cool and had cool uses in filler arcs. Now, we mentioned Goku Black, and we do see that he is nowadays quite loved amongst the fandom, but we do remember the days that
people like
people
Goku
initially
Black.
were disappointed when he was revealed to just be a just mind-possessed Zamasu. And honestly, we were memeing the living crap out of the Green Kai back in the day, and loved to point out how overcomplicated and unnecessary he seemed for a Sunday morning cartoon. The talk of justice, this felt like something that Studio Mappa would make, not a Dragon Ball show. How his motivations really couldn't quite reach the depths
That
he
is
was
kind of
supposed to
true,
because
actually. It does seem more Mappa than
of the medium that he found himself
Dragon
presented
Ball.
in.
That's why I
And
like the Zamasu arc, though. It's very unique as far as Dragon Ball goes.
the manga version was much more gruesome, and you could go a little bit further out of the ordinary.
Why is this
Didn't fully remedy
backwards?
the situation either. And the whole crying thing,
Why is he flipping
really?
stuff?
But you know what? Zamasu
You don't like the crying? That's based. Crying is cool, actually.
You seriously crying?
You guys don't think so?
Got an answer for everything, huh?
What was the second time he was kidnapped? He gets kidnapped by Raditz. And then he gets trapped on the other side of the universe.
okay, is kind of cool. Moreover, he could work without Black.
Dude,
but you know
wait.
what? Didn't fully remedy the situation either. And the whole crying thing, really? But you know what? Zamasu, okay, is kind of cool. Moreover, he
True.
could work without Black. The fact that we did get a canonical evil
He's
Goku was
based,
of
this
course
guy's
welcomed by
based.
many, because the fandom's been wanting an evil Goku. But still, we do
Kidnapped by
consider him
Piccolo,
the best
that's
villain
right,
that we were
that's
given
right.
in the era of Dragon Ball Super. A lot
He's
of the issues
drunk
that
and
we
he has
have
a
with him
better
still
memory than I
stand,
do.
but they no longer sting as much as they did when we first saw them in the initial run, we guess. Now, okay, we haven't mentioned two quite large elephants in the room, the Heaters and Jiren. Now, these tend to be the real punching bags amongst the community, and we kind of get why. With the four siblings, we already kind of liked them, but I do understand why people can be mad that Gas was kind of cheating his way to the top of the food chain, as was Granola. But still, I don't know, was he competent? I mean, he was a tragic villain, especially by the end, as he was used by his brother throughout the entire plot, to whom he was fiercely and naively loyal. Like I said, that end was incredibly gruesome and sad, as he was already falling apart, and Frieza just cut to the chase and finished it off a lot sooner. And you know what? You don't really have that many villains in Dragon Ball that we feel sympathetic toward, but don't end up seeing redeemed in some sort of a way. Like, they're on the way to redemption, but then they're snuffed out. I think the closest we ever got was Super's Paragus. Maybe Zangief and Bojack Unbound? Possibly? And Elec is kind of delightfully slippery, and ironically, the weakest of the bunch.
Wait,
while
when
still
did this video
remaining
come out? 3 days ago? That's kind of close for me.
because he had
I don't
to
want to
get
watch
the gap.
things right after
Now, we
they
like
come
these
out,
types
but-
of bad guys. That's why to us, the likes of Jiro, Imperfect Cell, and Barbary, we really like them on this channel. They are incredibly underrated villains with a lot more potential. That's why in Dragon Ball Daima, we are very excited to see more and more about the significance of Barbary, because it's quite clear that he is going to be playing a big part in it. Now, the big one, Jiren. Yes, personality-wise, he is incredibly bland. He is a lamer version of Batman, and the anime really doesn't give him that much agency.
What?
But the manga really does improve on his backstory, though. It's definitely worth a read if you haven't read the manga adaptation of Jiren. But on the other hand,
I wonder if this is true, because when I did my Jiren video, I kind of combined the anime and manga into one story. Because I think in the anime, they give more context about his... No. What is it? They give context about Jiren, but then in the manga, they talk more about his master and what exactly happened to him. I think, I don't remember. I know they both touch on different parts of his backstory, and I like kind of put them together in my video.
he is kind of cool, you know? The design, the fighting style, the whole resilience, the fact he's a subverted alien Roswell concept, that's cool.
They give
Beefcake
more stuff
aliens
about
that was
Geeks
only
and Slicing.
alien that
Okay,
we're so
yeah,
used to.
yeah. That
The
makes
idea of Jiren is really, really impressive,
Makes
and if
sense.
he's back in the official media, he does stand a much better chance of working with Goku as an ally more than a friend. He did show up in Super Dragon Ball Heroes from time to time, and he was already better in those stories, and that's just a promotional anime for cards. And he is better in Heroes, trust me. But ultimately, we really don't hate Jiren. He's just at this point a little, meh. We can improve, you know? He's certainly getting there. But yeah, all the supervillains had big shoes to fill. King Piccolo, Vegeta, Frieza, Cell, and even Boo. They're so iconic that everything that comes after them just feels a bit repetitive, inane,
True.
derogatory.
Very true.
Now, okay, of course, we are getting to GT's Grand Tour, and we have a whole video on this topic anyway, so we're going to keep it short. But originally, when Dragon Ball GT came out, we initially welcomed its turn toward more action and fighting that was more akin to Z, because at the beginning, it really seemed a bit bleh. Because after all, when you come to the show immediately after the Boo saga, you expect stronger opponents and more bombastic fights. And that's all well and good, but with time we kind of realized that not only did the adventure portion of the story turn out not to be so bad, it did have its charm. We would
Oh, it
also like to
sucks.
see more of it.
I'm
I feel like
sorry,
it could have
it's-
actually turned out to be very, very
it
good.
did not
And of course,
age
Super
well.
Saiyan 4 is iconic, Baby being a good villain, and Omega Shenron doing an okay job, only going on for far too long. Still, I don't know. If the series were longer and more focused on the adventures in space, Dragon Ball GT could have found its footing at some point. Now, having
I think most GT fans kind of just act like the Black Star arc didn't happen. Because one, it didn't age well, and two, it's pretty boring. Gotta be honest.
we watched it, it definitely had potential. And while we don't usually try to
Maybe if you're watching it when it comes out, like every week, it might be. I don't know. I feel like then you'd be disappointed that nothing really happens.
sway you toward a certain version of a show,
We really want to hear Goku and Trunks discuss the ethics of overtaxing a planet of aliens. I don't think so.
in this case, the GT subs are a much better experience. Next up is
Goku literally talks about housing taxes in GT. That's crazy.
Mr. Satan and Hercule. This is going to be more of Hab's personal take that I'm going to be sharing with you, but in Z, the champ was more unfunny, annoying than unfunny charming.
The adventure was just like for one arc. It was half the show. It was 30 episodes of 60.
Or even just straight up charming. Honestly, his whole shtick is understandable, and he does come around eventually in the end, but there was always, at the beginning, that annoying feeling of him never getting his proper comeuppance. Of course, he had to live in fear of someone revealing a secret to the world, much like we saw with Android 18 in the Boo saga, but it was a comfortable life nonetheless. But honestly, to us, he did feel more irritating than endearing, and even I can agree to that. That is until GT and Super came along, because him being part of the overall Son family, the granddad of Pan, the father of Videl, and being rather supportive towards Gohan as his son-in-law, is really sweet. And he genuinely
good.
does
I
have
like
some
it.
hilarious
I like
moments
it.
every now and again. That whole tale of Beerus after the Battle of God saga, that is genuinely funny. And him getting Majin Buu in shape is an incredible feat. Nobody could ever do that except Mr. Satan, even if it didn't work out for too long, and he's no longer as obnoxious as he used to be. It's also cool that he kind of has this odd friendship with Goku now. So yeah, Hercule is cool now, sort of. But hey, the Dragon Ball Super anime
This
filler
is
has
true.
moved on a
I
lot.
felt like I hated Mr. Satan and Z. But in Super, he's not as bad.
Side characters. While they made some questionable decisions with Goku in those moments, some of the human characters in those really had awesome situations. And I can tell you, making Hab no longer hate Mr. Satan is a very big deal. Now, okay, old Broly. Old Broly, that's a bit of an odd one. You start out thinking, oh my god, he's so cool! Then you get older and you realize his entire shtick is motivated by crying infants, and not some of the more drastic things that happen amongst him and his own backstory. Suddenly, you start to be really condescending toward him. Then the new one comes out, who is a much more fleshed out and likable iteration. And then you suddenly forget about the original version. But when you do go back to look at old Broly after seeing new Broly, you realize that, okay, he's still a classic villain. Okay, he only has one decent movie. And okay, he doesn't have much of a personality, but he is a force of nature, a playground legend, and one of the most widely discussed characters outside of
skip
Goku and
the Buu
Vegeta
arc?
amongst the fandom. Is he the best written bad guy in the saga? No, not by a long shot. But you cannot deny him a rightful place in the popularity poll. Or the fact that at one point or another, everybody found him cool. And yeah, okay, he does have plenty of badass moments. So even if you like the new one more, like we do, you kind of have to respect the original. Then there's Frieza's second resurrection. Okay, we're cheating here a little bit because this was remedied when Super was still airing, but we remember our reaction when it was first announced. It was really at that point when myself and Hab were really getting to know each other and learning about the idea of Buu being a fake out of the Tournament of Power, and then we're going to be getting Frieza again. And after Resurrection F, everyone was concerned, even diehard Frieza fans. But ever since Goku visited him in his own personal hell, there turned out to be something different about him. It was still the same Galactic Emperor we knew and loved, but he evolved. You know what? That was okay.
True.
Ever since he was on the screen or on a page, he steals the show regardless. Some of the best moments of the Tournament of Power are down to him and him just existing. Every time you see him in Broly, he is pure joy. And whilst poor Granola really didn't get the resolution he wanted, the whole Black Frieza sequence was a very good moment for him. So, okay, they actually fixed something. They doubled down on an idea that didn't work and then made it work surprisingly. A rare occurrence, yes, but a welcome one. Then, of course, there's S-cells. You know, when Star Wars introduced midichlorians, a lot of fans were rightfully angry,
It is
thinking
the
that George
same
Lucas
thing as
had
midichlorians,
taken a lot of
isn't
the
it?
mysticism away in regards to the Force. It's not entirely true, as if
Not
you go
everything
deeper into the
needs an
topic,
explanation.
you will begin to find out that they merely indicate more powerful individuals, and not right out creating potential. But the Phantom Menace doesn't show it in that way, and the harm was already done, thus rendering this immortal meme. So understandably, when Toriyama created his own version of midichlorians, which may or may not be one of his own classic interview ad-libs, fans were not happy. And when I tried to make a video on the subject, you
Mr. Satan was likable once he convinced Boo that killing is a bad thing. Agree to disagree.
were very, very vocal. But you know what? Looking at what we have, it kind of makes sense. I mean, S-cells don't make the characters with lower levels necessarily weaker. I mean, just look at Goku
He was
and Vegeta.
okay,
They
but I still
give
didn't really
potential
like him.
Super Saiyans an easier start in life when it comes to their progeny, especially. And this is kind of consistent with what we've seen with Goten, Trunks,
It's
and
because of what he said. Like, Mr. Satan needed to get his comeuppance. He needed to, like, understand and accept that he kind of is a worthless little human freak. I don't know. Or he needs to have that realization, and now I can like him. Because now he realizes, okay, here's all these people that are cooler and stronger than me, and my place is to take care of Boo and be a good grandfather, and he's good in that role.
And the super version of Pan. They just need less effort to catch up to Goku and Vegeta. They've already got it. It doesn't really matter. It just means they have a free pass to beat their dads. It does bring up some more bad memories from Star Wars, but if you think about it, it's been rather consistent throughout the series. Not counting Pan and GT, of course, but that's mostly down to good old sexism from Toriyama of the 90s. And DBZ immediately started by being more technical about his power levels. And that's it. Things we now feel pretty positive toward about Dragon Ball. Do you have any of those? Now remember, we're interested in those that are connected to the things that you didn't like, but that you eventually learned to appreciate in time. Dragon Ball's been around for nearly 40 years, and we do believe that you folks have changed your mind about some stuff, and we'd love to hear it in the comments. But anyway, I'll see you in the next video.
Alright, that was good. I like that video. It did touch on a lot of the stuff that I had just been talking about. And I'm glad that there are people that are still making videos like this. I think this is like an important kind of video to make. Among all the pure negativity about Dragon Ball Super, some people looking back on it and realizing it wasn't that bad, and these things are actually cool and good. Good stuff.
Are you not all the
I'm not making any videos about GT. Actually, my next video is supposed to be about GT. But pushing it back again. It was supposed to come out like 2-3 months ago. I pushed it back to December. And now I think maybe January or February. There's another one that I want to make in between. Yeah, good video. Here. You know, you guys all know. Go watch it or like it or whatever. Are you guys debating in the chat right now about old Broly? Are we having a debate? Yeah, pretty much. Why don't you come on stream and debate so that I can sit here and do nothing while you guys make content for me? Thoughts? Oh, you're sick? I'm sorry, man. Oof. Oof. You're sick? Oof. Oof, man. Oops. Could have stayed inside. Who has better durability, Frieza or Mr. Satan? Okay, let's break this down. Frieza survived a planet exploding in the vacuum of space. Mr. Satan survived being hit by Cell, who's solar system level. But technically Cell, or technically Mr. Satan, has higher durability. This has been Power Scaling 101. Take gag moments literally, and then state them as fact. Mr. Satan has comedy character, gag character protection durability. He's infinitely durable. All right. I'm wrapping up. This was fun. I think we'll do more of these in the future. Maybe we'll make a habit of weekend lectures. It's so weird to say lecture, I don't know. As if I'm some like smart guy teaching you things about stuff. Teaching you things about stuff. That sentence alone should show how not smart I am. Dear Warrior, yeah, I'm gonna go eat breakfast. Where's the next essay? New video tomorrow, 100%. Maybe, or Monday. Hopefully tomorrow though, Sunday. Look for a new video Sunday morning at noon. EST. Jay of Oz, join the Discord, buddy. Join the Discord, I'm always in there. Class is over, yes. Zero, thank you again. Hazanik, thank you again. I'm overjoyed by your assistance. Link is in the description. Right down below. Oh, fuck. I want to... Alright, I'll add the bar for you guys. I'll do it, okay? Thank you for being accepting of that stuff. Goodbye, everyone. I'll talk to you all on the Discord. Have a good weekend. I'll see you guys on Wednesday at noon, normal time.